Man City to swoop in for Barça star, Juventus to trade in young talent, contract talks collapse with two Man United players, a transfer roundup and this week's Friday feels, all coming up on today's OneFootball Daily News. I'm your host Angelina Kelly, let's get into it. So whilst Barcelona fans are still probably reeling from the fact that Joan Laporta did not rule out a potential return in the future for Lionel Messi, could the club actually be facing losing one of their current stars? According to reports in Spain, Manchester City are actually trying their luck with trying to sign midfielder Frenkie de Jong and reportedly want to try and get him in the January transfer window and want to kind of take advantage of the fact that Barcelona do have some financial difficulties at the moment and maybe they would be more likely to sell the player. The club have decided to try and make an early move and reportedly have offered 90 million euros to sign the 24-year-old, which would actually see Barcelona profit on the reported fee that they paid for him back when he made the move from Ajax in 2019. Now, as much as this does sound great, arguably one of the best young midfield talents in Europe right now, playing for one of the best clubs in Europe, if not the world at the moment, I'm not too sure if I can see this one happening. I just can't see Barcelona giving up the player without a fight. And of course, when you look at Manchester City's midfield, it is already pretty solid. I mean, they have Phil Foden, although he's been playing in more of a centre-forward role at times, he is still a central midfielder alongside the likes of Ilkay Gundogan. Of course, more of the attacking midfield roles, you've got Kevin De Bruyne, you've got Bernardo Silva. And yes, some people can argue that two of those players are 30 years of age and older. However, they are still extremely talented players. And I cannot imagine that any of them would want to miss out on a game and be benched in order for De Jong to play, and I can't imagine that he'd be happy on the bench either. And in addition, like I say, I can't see Barcelona letting this player go, and according to Mundo Deportivo, he will not be going anywhere as Xavi believes that he can definitely get the best out of the player. And also, the player is under contract until 2026. Maybe in a season or two, if Barcelona have not recovered from the slump that they're in at the moment, perhaps we could see the player moving, but for now, I think that he will be sticking it out at Barcelona and potentially becoming one of the key players for Xavi's squad. Now, over in Italy, and according to reports, Juventus could be looking at getting rid of one of their young talents in Dejan Kulusevski. Now, of course, since he's made the move to Juventus, let's face it, it's not been completely groundbreaking. Of course, under Andrea Pirlo, he had more of an important role, you could argue, that did have some mixed results, you could say. And under new manager Max Allegri, let's face it, he's not been getting as much game time. He's managed to make 15 appearances with only one goal to show for it, and reportedly the club are setting the wheels in motion to consider a move for him. According to these reports in Italy, the player himself is not actually happy at Juventus at the moment, and there have been links with a move to Tottenham or to Arsenal. Now, considering Arsenal, there have been some rumours about a potential swap deal with Nicolas Pepe, as of course he has not been getting a lot of game time under Mikel Arteta. However, according to reports, Juventus do not want a swap deal, they want the cash, and rumoured price tag is about 30 to 35 million euros, and this is what Juventus seemingly want, or a loan move. Now, of course, when it comes to Spurs, they have got an Italian manager now in Antonio Conte, and of course their managing director of football, Fabio Paratici, did work at Juventus, and he reportedly was involved in signing Kulusevski for the club. So this one could definitely make sense, as he clearly does see that the player is a talent and he could be a good young addition to this Spurs team. Now, for me, this move could potentially make sense. At the end of the day, if a player is not happy, if a club is not happy, then perhaps a clean break is the best thing. And reportedly, Juventus are already eyeing their replacement in Euro 2020 star Mikkel Damsgaard, who of course was on the lips of pretty much every club over the summer, as he had a great campaign at the Euros. However, with Federico Bernardeschi now out for Juventus for a week or two reportedly, could this give Kulusevski a little bit of a lifeline? Could this mean that he could get some more game time, and perhaps he could actually prove the doubters wrong at Juventus? So I think this transfer is definitely far from over. As Manchester United fans prepare for the return of the Premier League this weekend, I think there's definitely going to be some nervous fans when you look at the form that Man United have been in recently. And on top of this, there is even more worry for fans, as reportedly contract negotiations for two of their players have broken down. The first player is Paul Pogba. No surprise there really. Of course, he has been hitting the headlines left, right and centre about a potential move away from Manchester United. He's out injured at the moment, but according to a report from Marca in Spain, Manchester United have now actually decided that they will not be offering Pogba a new contract, and they are happy to see him walk in the summer for free. It's reported that confidence has been lost between the two parties in the last few months. Let's face it, Paul Pogba has been a little bit of a hit and miss at times for Man United. He's not really been consistent, so you can understand why this is seemingly going to be how his career at Manchester United ends. And it'll be interesting to see where he heads next, as I'm sure Real Madrid will be keeping a close eye on the player. And the second player whose contract negotiations have completely and utterly collapsed is Jesse Lingard. According to the BBC, Lingard did decide to stay at Old Trafford after that great loan spell to West Ham because he believed that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would be giving him more game time. And let's face it, that's not happened. He has started one game this season, which was an EFL Cup defeat to West Ham. And then he's made 7 substitutions since, and he's actually only managed 76 minutes of game time so far this season, which is not the figures that you want if you want to be on the plane to Qatar with that England squad for the World Cup next winter. Now, despite 6 clubs reportedly saying that they were interested in the player over the summer, like I say, he decided to stick with the club that he has been at since he was 7 years of age. But it looks like now it is time for Lingard to potentially walk away in January. Now, it's understood that due to the circumstances of Lingard having been at the club for so long, he did want to have contract negotiations. But according to reports, he now believes that basically there's little point in actually having any discussions, as what's been proven this season is that he's not getting the game time that he wants. So why sign a contract to stay at a club where potentially you won't be getting any more game time? It does make sense for the player, and maybe it is time to move on to pastures new. As like I say, he was so good in the latter half of last season for West Ham, and I'm sure that there will be plenty of clubs willing to take him off Solskjaer's hands. And now we have a transfer roundup. This is where I take a look at some of the other news and transfers going on in the footballing world. And first up, Tottenham Hotspur manager Antonio Conte is reportedly looking for a replacement for 35-year-old goalkeeper Hugo Lloris. And the goalkeeper that he's looking at is Everton's Jordan Pickford. And speaking of goalkeepers, Manuel Neuer is reportedly having talks with Bayern Munich about extending his contract, but the 35-year-old is reportedly stating that he wants a deal until 2025. AC Milan player Zlatan Ibrahimovic looks set to stay at the club now until June of 2023. And finally, it seems like Paris Saint-Germain's Neymar will potentially miss out on their Champions League fixture with Manchester City next week, as he reportedly does have a hip injury, as he did not feature for Brazil in their game against Argentina earlier in the week. And now we have Friday Feels. This is where I give you guys some of my predictions ahead of the weekend's fixtures. And first up in the Premier League, we have got Liverpool against Arsenal. This will be a very interesting game. I'm not going to say who's going to win or lose or what the scoreline will be, but I think one thing is for certain is that Mo Salah will get on the score sheet, so I'm going to say that he will score 2 goals. And then over in Spain, we of course have Barcelona against Espanyol. It is Xavi's first game in charge. There's a lot riding on this. I do feel like Espanyol will think that they can get something from this game, but I'm going to be confident in Barcelona and say that they will end this game with a victory. And finally in Serie A, we have got Inter against Napoli. Now, I believe that Napoli will continue their unbeaten run. However, I feel like Inter will maybe hold them to a draw. So that's it for today's OneFootball Daily News. Check out all the other content that we've got here, and until next time, I will see you all later.